Hello, my wonderful viewers. Welcome to my platform. This is Linda's TV show. If it is your first time of coming across this channel and you like what you see after watching, please subscribe, put on your notification bell, set it to all notification. In that way, you'll be able to get notified each time I upload a new video, even those without notification. Here we react to all forms of videos, international and local. Every Saturday by 2 p.m. we have our interaction section. You are free to call in to air your opinion about the happenings in our society. Invite your friends, share my videos with your families and colleagues. Do not keep this information to yourself. Myself, I will be sitting down here to watch this video together with you from the beginning to the end. Then we'll go to the comment section and leave our comment, our opinion about the video.
In fact, we have more people living in poverty than when you even combine them. Our unemployment is one of the highest. It's actually the highest when you put the numbers. Because South Africa, that is rated as being higher than us, have lesser population. Because while they have about 40% unemployment, when combined with underemployment, it is about 60% in South Africa. But imagine that South Africa is a country with about 60 million population. If they have 36 million unemployment and unemployment, that means their number is just about 36 million for under and unemployment. We're using the overall population. But if you use population of people who are supposed to be working in South Africa, you find out 60% of your population is supposed to be working. And if they have 60% unemployment, it should actually be just about 20 million. But in Nigeria, you have a similar situation, but because you have 200 million population, people who are supposed to be working is 120 million. And today, the number of people working is just about 40 million. So you have almost 80 million people who are supposed to be productive that are not productive. And what is worse, the number that is higher in this population are the young ones. So you have your young ones in their productive age doing nothing. So you must look at it. Our drug prevalence is very high. The average is 5.8%. Ours is 14%. In all this, I'm telling you all this bad news, out of school children of over 15 million, in all this, we don't even have the resources. We're not borrowing money, chairman, every day. To the extent that we now use over 90% of our revenue to service debts. And we are borrowing more. Your country is now has a debt situation that is very difficult to manage. When Obasanjo left government, he cleared all the debts owed in dollars, leaving only about $2 billion for multinational debts. The total debt when Obasanjo left office was 3 trillion. Today your country is owing 58 trillion. From 3 to 58. And when you ask what did they use this debt to do, they will tell you it is for capital projects. Where is the capital project? I drove on one of the capital projects this morning, from Abuja to here. Abuja to here, for a trip of 2 hours, cannot be more than maximum 200 or thereabout kilometers, if I'm right. And if you're going to do a 200 kilometers of road today, in terms of construction, I do not think Abuja to here will cost us more than maximum, maybe 200 billion naira. I'm even exaggerating. To our total debt, new monies borrowed from Obasanjo's time is 55 trillion. %10 of 55 trillion is 5.5 trillion. 1% is 550 billion. 0.01% is 5 billion. So if you decide to reconstruct this road and make it better, you don't need more than 2% of the amount of our debt. Are you saying that Abuja to Kogi should not earn 2% of this debt we're talking, if it's actually meant for, considering the importance of Kogi to Nigeria in terms of revamping our Jakarta scale, in terms of agriculture? So it was consumed. It was never used for capital project. The consequence is why we're paying huge debt in servicing it today. Chairman, last year, first 5 months of last year, we earned 1,847 billion naira as revenue. We used 1,802 to service debts, not repayment, 98%. And the situation is worsening. The reason is that the money you borrowed was not invested. When you borrow money for consumption, you are in trouble. That's why Nigeria is in trouble, because he borrowed for consumption, not for investment. Every nation of the world that has invested money, it was better. Today, because of insecurity, Nigerians can't go to farm. We can't go to a farm. The government can no longer support production of anything. If you do, we can't feed ourselves. We're importing food. Countries after countries have been able to support the activities. So everywhere you go, people say, what are you going to do with insecurity? How are you going to fight insecurity? How are you going to fight education? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do this? I said, we have enough in a good government to fight insecurity. You fight insecurity with two things. Number one is that there's a content what you call natural security. Natural security is that people must have a means of livelihood. You must pull people out of poverty. They must be doing something. If someone doesn't know where the next meal will come from, it is a crisis. So they must have a means of livelihood. That is how it works. They must have a means of livelihood. You must have, and I'm talking about the younger ones. Today, parents pay their children's school fees. When they finish, their children are home and they're feeding them. These young ones must have a job. We must give them a job. We must provide them with jobs. They are the engine of growth of the nation. So we must support them. People can say, what are we going to do in Kogi? Look at Kogi. Look at the banks of the Niger. We are importing rice. This country is importing rice. With what I saw this morning, Vietnam as a country was one of the biggest rice importers. Vietnam took a decision. We are no longer going to import rice. We are going to cultivate rice. Today, Vietnam is one of the biggest rice exporters. In April, just last month, Vietnam exported rice of more than $300 million. $300 million today is about 170 billion naira, which is more than the budget of Kogi State. We have this. And all the young people in Vietnam are working in the rice field. If you're going to Vietnam now, your plane is landing, you would think you're going to land in the rice field. Because here and here, are rice mills all over the place. Nigeria built a facility here that would have been the engine of turnaround of technology and technical things in Nigeria, Ajokuta Steel. Where is it today? Shagari and his father Kwame, they sacrificed to build it. It was planned to be one of the engines of revolution that will turn around the country. It is only comatose. Successive governments have told us they will resuscitate it. It's all grammar. Nobody. That facility alone, functional, with other surrounding small facilities, can contribute a lot to Kogi in terms of employment, in terms of revenue, in terms of everything. What is that? You live virtually in banks of cement all over the place. I can go on and on. So this is a state that ordinarily should be part of the engine of growth of Nigeria. To stay, one of the best things that happens to a business is when you stay on what you call roots. Kogi is a market because it's a drive-through. But with this security, nobody even wants to stop. Nobody's even sure what to do. So I can go on and tell you what things are. All this is happening because we don't have a purposeful government that can say we are going to resuscitate this facility and go about the monies we've borrowed. If we find a good partner and support them with a little amount of money, they will resuscitate there. But we borrowed it for consumption. I was in Bauchi 2 days ago, and I went to the tomb of Tafa Balewa to pray. And I told people, when I look at the sacrifice they did in the 60s, him and the leaders of Nigeria then, look at the sacrifice, even up to Shagari and the Kwame did. And look at what is happening to us today. Ask myself, how did we get here? Under Tafa Balewa, Nigeria borrowed the first loan, $82 million to build Kainji Dam. It was documented. It was written. He said, I'm borrowing this money in order to build a facility to generate 760 megawatts of electricity to spur industrial growth in my country, economic growth in my country. Imagine if Nigeria had been borrowing since then and investing it properly in power. Today, your country, a country of 200 million people, is generating only 4,000 megawatts of electricity. When Tafa Balewa built what would generate about 1,058 years ago. So what you're saying that from that 58 years ago to today, the only increase we have been able to do is about 3,000. And we are giant of Africa. Number 1 country in Africa with 200 million people. Number 2 country in Africa 60 million in South Africa. They are generating 54,000 megawatts. We are generating, so they are generating 50,000 more than we are generating. Number 3 biggest country in Africa is Egypt, 100 million. They are generating 55,000. In fact, Egypt only added from 2015 to 2021, it doubled its own 127, added another 28 to bring it to 50 something. With investing less than 10% of the money we borrowed within this period, because we borrowed about 100 billion now, they invested only $10 billion to double that. You are a giant of Africa. Because we are doing what? Consumption. The only thing you hear here in this country is sharing formula. Nobody have ever talked about production formula. It is sharing. Everybody wants to share. And what are we sharing? We are sharing oil money. 18 billion. It's gone down to even 15 billion. Which is absolutely nothing. Compared to anything. A country of 200 million people. Countries without oil are making more money, more income in terms of foreign exchange. Last year, we are getting 15 million from oil. Vietnam exported from footwear 25 billion worth of goods. Just shoes. Just what people wear on their foot. Nigeria is earning 15 billion from oil. They export from clothing $17 billion. Garments. We are taking 15 billion from oil. These are not sophisticated things. These are not what Nigerians can do. These are not what our youth can do. These are not what our women can do. Bangladesh is exporting 36 billion worth of garments. I was there in 2010 and I went there to look at what they're doing. 60% of the people doing the garments are women. We're in villages like this, sewing garments for export. And they earn more than twice what we earn from oil from doing those garments. Nigeria is a country where nobody wants to support anybody. Our women are not working. Our young people are not working. The entire country is unproductive. It is only consumption, consumption, consumption. I want to move this country from consumption to production. If we make it that, it will accommodate all of us. There's nothing wrong in borrowing. We are going to borrow money. Nigeria will borrow money, but Nigeria will invest it. I just gave you an example of Bangladesh. When I was in Bangladesh in 2010, the debt of Bangladesh is $45 billion. Their debt, they were owing borrowed money, $45 billion. As at that time, Nigeria was owing 30. Their GDP then was $115 billion. Their per capita, which you used to measure the real wealth of the nation, was $747 in 2010. Ours then was $375 billion with a per capita of $2,250. So our per capita, which is a measure of wealth, was 3 times that of Bangladesh in 2010. Today, Bangladesh GDP is 340 billion. They've grown 3 times. Their debt equally have grown 3 times. But because their GDP is higher, while it was 36% in 2010, their debt now is under 36%. Their per capita now is $2,050. 3 times. In our own, our debt have increased from 30 to $120 billion. Our per capita is now $2,000. So we lost 11% of our value in 2010. And we're a country. We're throwing more and more people into poverty. This shows that borrowing is not our problem. You can borrow money. Every country of the world is owing money. Every country you know in this world is owing money. America, we used to celebrate today, they are owing money. America owes nearly 100% of its GDP as debt. China, the second biggest economy, owes over 50% of their GDP as debt. Japan, the third biggest economy, is owing 230% of their GDP as debt. So everybody borrows money and everybody owes. No country of the world have I studied that is not owing. Egypt, that I mentioned now, is owing about 80% of its GDP. So is other countries. I was in Morocco recently. Morocco exported last year without oil over 40 space than Netherlands. They can't feed themselves. They can't feed Nigeria. They don't have anything for export. Netherlands has only 33,000 square kilometers of land minus water. And last year they did export of 120 billion worth of agricultural goods. Nigeria is unproductive. I was in Taraba yesterday, and I showed them that just not far away from us, in Kenya, that Kenya did export of flour of nearly $500 million. You children, young people that pick flour are paid $100, which is 60,000 naira. A minimum wage is 30. So they earn twice for picking flour. I showed them what we did Ethiopia. This is a third world country. Ethiopia earned last year from export of coffee $905 million. Taraba can grow coffee. They are not growing coffee. I told them in tea, they can grow tea. Taraba and Plateau can grow tea. Sierra Leone can earn $1.4 billion from growing tea. So you could see how nations and nations all over the place are making money from things that are available for us to free. We are not doing it. The only thing we are doing is sharing, consumption, no production, no productivity, nobody cares. My dear delegates, I'm only here to plead with you. Nigeria is at a turning point. Anarchy consumes everybody. The two major yardsticks of a fair state is when you are no longer in control of your territory. We are no longer in control of our territory.
Thank you so much, my wonderful viewers, for watching this video together with me from the beginning to the end. Like I said before, if you like what you see here, if you like what I do in this platform, as you have finished watching this video, please hit that red button that says subscribe and put on your notification bell to all notification. In that way, you'll be able to know when I upload a new video. Share my videos, leave your comments in the comment section constructively. Until I meet your way again in my next video, I still remain your Linda's TV show. Bye-bye.